Okay, so right now we're setting up Ad-Hoc network battle between the PSP and the PS Vita. So over here, we've got it set up to start a battle. I don't know which character's on which side. So I guess I might as well talk about the differences between the PSP and the PS Vita as well. So one thing to note, and it's probably the most obvious thing, is the difference between the screen. So when it comes to the PS Vita, the screen is brighter, it has better contrast ratio, it's not washed out like the PSP, and also noting that the PSP, the pixels are kind of, they've got this screen door effect when you compare the two. So up here the pixels are further apart compared to the density on the PS Vita, which is 960 by 540 compared to this, which is basically a quarter of the screen stretched out. And when you upscale PSP games, you expect to get jaggies on a screen like this without the screen door to kind of take away that by using an illusion. But what the PS Vita does is it lets you use bilinear filtering as well as change settings for the right stick, and also the camera, which, because on the original PSP you could swivel it, so that's why it has the option to change camera to rear and front. And also you can set the color space for the PSP system, so you can see just looking here, I don't know what's around here. So you can see the screen looks way better on the Vita. Like if you get a PS Vita just to play PSP games, it will be totally worth it. And there's a huge back library of PSP games, great games, despite all the jokes to the contrary. Now another thing I want to mention is the analog stick. This nub, if you used it for a long time, anyone who's used this knows like it gets painful after a while, and it's really hard, just slides around. This stick actually feels nice. It actually rotates around the ball joint. And also to note the D-pad, you can see on the PSP there's something under there which slides and moves around, and it's really irritating to use this. Whereas on the Vita, it's one piece and it clicks nicely. Like you can actually feel the difference, and it's really much better for fighting games. It's a great D-pad. I'm really impressed with the PS Vita. The only thing I might be worried about is the sizes between the buttons here and the buttons here. They're very small, but so far I haven't really noticed anything with regard to that, except for just like visually seeing the size difference. The sound on the Vita is also 10 times better than the PSP, so if you're thinking about getting a Vita just to play like 700 PSP games, I totally suggest you do it. So there's something else I noticed, is that the load times, they're faster on the Vita when you start them off from the same point, and the speed that the Vita runs is slightly faster than the PSP too. The clock speed is slightly different. Like I'll notice that when you're playing an FMV or something, the Vita will outrun the PSP, so it's emulated, and that could probably be the reason. But for people who are purely, like, when you're into emulation, you want everything to be 100%, take note that the Vita does run things slightly faster. So yeah, that's the PSP and the Vita both running Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max.